Hi, and welcome to the Connection Over Perfection podcast. I am Amber McCrae, your therapeutic nutritionist and host. Join me on a holistic healing journey where we explore the power of nutrition and connection for your overall well-being, where we embrace connection over perfection. Hey there, amazing souls. Amber here to guide you through Connection Over Perfection. We are unfolding the next chapter in our special 3-part series for the Podcast Connection Network. I'll kick off things with a brief recap of the raw and real moments from part 1 on Heather Harrington's Hot Mess Espresso podcast. If you've yet to hear it, take a moment to swing by Hot Mess Espresso's podcast first, then return here for part 2. And stay tuned. After this, the conclusion awaits with Hunter on Everything is Connected podcast dropping Sunday. So let's get into the recap.
I also think it's good to get people involved with this because I know that we've all talked about it, whether quickly or at length, in our podcast episodes, in our lives, our TikTok lives, anything like that, it can be really heavy taking on everything and taking on other people's shit and taking on our own shit and trying to be there. And I think in trying to normalize us like mental health creators, putting up boundaries, things like that, having a community of podcasters that, when we get through the admin burnout or something like that, it's just good to be like, I can't come up with a form for XYZ, or, I need help with this episode concept that I'm trying to come up with, and just having a community of people that have ideas and options.
So Heather, I think I hear you saying that we could do it alone. We could, but why do we have to do it alone when we have so many amazing people to do it together?
Mm-hmm.
Is that close?
Yeah.
We have people that we can count on, and it makes doing life so much easier and better when you have people who are somewhat emotionally stable, right? I would say we're somewhat emotionally stable.
Oh, I'm not at all. What are you talking about?
Hey, from where we've come from to where we are, let's give ourselves some credit, right?
It's been a while since I've been tempted to key a car or two, so I think we're doing good.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hey, I talked about slashing throats earlier, so we're good. We're on the same page.
I mean,
Hunter's proof.
As long as it's surface level, I think it's fine. I'm a terrible influence. I am not the person you call when you want sound, logical advice. I'm the person you call when you want an alibi, a getaway vehicle, or somebody holding a wiffle bat. I am not the person
This is why we're friends.
I'm not the person to be like, well, have you thought about talking to them? I'm like, where are we going? You will not see us on Forensic Files. It's fine.
This is for educational purposes only.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
We're not talking about anything illegal, y'all.
Exactly.
I do want to mention that all of our podcasts are for informational and entertainment purposes only. We do not condone doing anything without if you have a therapist, what they said, stick with them. We just share our experiences and our opinions.
Yes, so do I.
We just share what we know and what we've experienced. I encourage therapy. I believe everybody deserves a therapist. So, and one day maybe I will become a therapist. I don't know.
Yeah, no. See, I know what my therapist deals with me, and no, thank you. No. My therapist and I have been through some shit. So, I love being there for people. I love being a safe space, but there's always a point where I'm just like, I'm going to have to start charging you if you keep talking because I can't.
Hashtag become a coach.
I don't know if I'm coaching material because I'm a little too blunt about things.
Then they're not your people. This is why we have so many different people in the same field.
That's exactly what's necessary.
No, and I want to clarify because I know that there's kind of like the thing going around about brutal honesty and being blunt and this, that, and the other thing. There's a difference between telling somebody how it is and calling them out on their shits and still leaving space for the fact that they are a human being and they are going to have feelings and you can't sugarcoat it, and just being a complete asshole and being like, well, that's just my opinion. There is a difference.
Well, and I think too, do you think that it has anything to do with the safety between the connection that you have with the person that you're talking
Tact,
to?
the level of tact that could, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, my brutal honesty is different than somebody else's like brutal honesty. Like, I come with facts, I come with, possible solutions, I come with stuff like that. And very rarely do I ever have to get brutally honest.
Yeah.
That's also because I've surrounded myself with people that are either brutally honest with me about things and their end of brutal honesty, or just people that are determined to better themselves. So I don't really have to get to that level. I'm just kind of like, I give hints and they're just like, oh, that's a good idea. Blah. So it's different than when like I was in my 20s and had to like call out my friends for things they were doing that were less than. Now most of my friends are in our 30s and we're old and boring, and the most I have to yell at them for is, can you not text your stupid ass ex back, or can you not stay up till 3 a.m.
I
reading
was
that
like,
book?
oh,
I don't listen to that advice either, but
just the book
well,
part.
I don't text the toxic ex back anymore. I'm happily married and blah 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 blah. But the staying up till 3 a.m.
Yes.
part, we're still learning. This is a journey.
Okay, so here is part 2 of the Podcast Connection Network introduction episode. So it's all about just laughs and stories and introducing ourselves and why we really started this network. This episode is just a breezy preview of our personal styles and the rich conversations to come ahead. To enjoy the whole laid back chat, start with Heather's podcast, continue with mine, and then finish off with Hunter's. So, ready to get to know us a little bit more? Let the journey begin. I want to circle back to what you were saying, Heather, about just as a collective and why we're kind of here doing this together and
Oh yeah.
being advocates for mental health and just what we go through. And I think that it's so important to have people, like you said, that we can call out one another, right? In a loving way. We know each other's intention. Hey, we're all going to get turns, Hunter. Heather will call me out too.
I'll get called out eventually. I know I will.
But I think it's so
Oh, I will. I
necessary
know.
and it's
Oh, I know.
healthy and essential in being able to keep going. If we're doing it on our own, we don't have people that can say, check in and be like, hey, it looks like you're staying up way too many nights at 3 a.m. You're about to burn out. Like, you know what I mean? Checking in with us, holding us accountable in a loving way. And also that we can be like, hey, I'm just burnt out today or this week. Can you help me cover in an area or something like that? Or I'm not going to be able to be present. And having people that understand and have grace and hold space for that. It's huge.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we've done our mental health lives, I know there's going to be points where one of us is like texting in the group, like, I don't really have it in me today. Can you run
Mm-hmm.
point? I
Yeah,
will just sit
exactly.
there. If somebody asks me a question directly, I will answer it, but like, I can't fucking do it today. So can you run point? And I think that's why I love the community that we're trying to build. And even just with podcasting, like, sorry, the incense, I must be like the crappy spirit over here because all of a sudden the smoke just came right in my face. Like, all right, it's my turn. The room's cleansed. It's my turn. Um, it's fine. But just,
Accept it for what it is and just do it.
no.
Just go with it.
So, but even what I love about the community that we're trying to build is literally like, it can be something as small as, can somebody send me a Google form template for, interviewing other people, or can somebody help me figure out how to do like a media release form, or something as huge as, I'm hitting huge podcasters block, I'm having burnout, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to shut down, and getting that encouragement. So I think the community that we're building is not only helping to kind of bring, quote, exposure, and I hate that word because I'm also in the beauty industry, and exposure is just like a trigger word for us because that's what people think they can do instead of pay us. But it gives us exposure to other people that it wouldn't have.
Yes.
And also gives us the support, because running a podcast on your own is a lot of freaking work, and people don't realize that. It is 10% this, and the other 90%
Yeah.
is paperwork, planning, phone calls. Like, we had a whole phone call before this episode, and then even before we started recording, we were like, okay, what exactly are we doing? Because it's a lot. So having that support and that network, I think it's going to help make versus break a lot of people that are just starting out, just trying to figure out if they can even do this. And half the battle is literally just jumping off the cliff and, free falling.
Right.
But, I think that this network can kind of be a safety net in a way, where it kind of cushions the fall a little bit, where you're not gonna start out great. It's not gonna sound great. You're not gonna start out great. Like, it's just gonna. I mean, my first season is four. I have a 4-minute episode on my first season because I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. But it's just to. It's just a community. It's just another facet of this community where we can get support. We can, encourage. We can, you know, swap this, that, or the other thing. And some of us have resources that other people don't, that kind of thing.
I love that.
So I'm very excited to see where this goes.
I love that. And you were talking about how, the support and it being hard, and I relate that very much to healing itself, because once you talk about your shit, once you talk about your traumas, your past experiences, not only are you healing yourself, but you're helping others heal too. So this, in a way, is kind of like that, where you know we're all relatively new to this, and there's going to be new people who want a podcast but don't know how, and don't know what to do, and they come listen to us and figure it out, or come hang out in the community and figure it out, and do their thing, and off they go, and it helps us too because we're learning from each other. Right? Like we're all learning from each other how to do this. So we're not perfect. I know, and the funny thing is everybody says that oh, we have this shit podcast episode, or we have this problem, but I don't recall hearing any, like, I don't see any problems in your podcasts. Either one of your podcasts, I don't hear anything where I'm like, oh yeah, that was bad, or oh yeah, like maybe stay away from that, like, because we're our own worst critics, right? So it's all here, really. But I do love that that you brought that up, Heather.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't even started, and you gave me my first piece of advice, which was get real close to the mic when you talk. So I did. I got this is my second husband. This mic right here. We got real close.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're real close. But but it was just that simple piece of advice that made even all the issues with audio and everything else that I had in the first season that much better. And granted, those audio issues weren't bad, but they were something that I heard, I didn't love, but I also had resources to call up my best friend and be like, hey, why is it clicking? And we fixed it. So, and it's just,
you're saying we need,
and I've helped other streamers with their mics and stuff like that because of that.
Link in bio.
Yeah, totally.
That's okay though.
We have about a 5-minute shelf life of being serious, and then we just have to throw
That's
something
my safe
in.
word, Kate. That's my safe word. Link in bio.
Oh, it's not pineapple anymore?
Oh yeah, we can't talk about that on here.
That got him in way too much trouble.
We don't talk about Bruno
There's
or
pending
pineapples.
charges. I'm kidding.
That's a different pod.
So Sorry, the safe word on my TikTok live is goat cheese now because of one of my mods came in at the wrong time.
Oh, I heard you say that. I heard you say I need to
It
write
was
down
just
these safe words.
I knew the frozen dinner that
Goat
my husband
shaker.
was talking about when he was listing them off for like because he was gonna microwave me something real quick, and it was the portobello mushroom and goat cheese like frozen dinner, delicious by the way. And he just said, "Do you want the goat cheese?" And one of my mods had come in and just said, "What about goat cheese?" And I was like, "That's the safe word. That's a safe word." Because like, I'll troll some of the trolls back in my lives and stuff, but then when they like are just getting a little too annoying, I'm just like, I'm really craving goat cheese.
That's great. That's genius. I do love though what you said about like sharing information because I know after I listened to Hunter's podcast and he had the medical disclaimer, I was like, just so you know, I'm stealing that idea.
Oh yeah, I put it in all of my descriptions. I'm literally like big bold words disclaimer. It's never the same because I have yet to actually like put all of these things on a sheet of paper and then copy and paste it because that would be, effective and smart, but I do things the hard way.
Hey, that reminds me, we should have like an area with
Honestly.
information like that in maybe in the Discord.
Yeah. So like
Yes.
yeah, we could do something like that, but like I literally am like the views and opinions expressed are that of the host in the podcast and should not be used to substitute or like take place of help from a licensed professional. And I'm like, I hope that's enough of a
Yeah.
disclaimer.
That's perfect. I overdid it, but yeah, yours is perfect.
Yeah. I'm just like short, sweet, and don't sue me.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, you could just say, "Don't sue me. This is my opinion." I mean, that's a good enough disclaimer.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that might work too. Okay, so check in now on Sunday for Hunter's podcast, the part 3 on Everything is Connected podcast.
Hey everyone, Hunter from the Everything is Connected podcast here.
Heather from Hot Mess Espresso.
And Amber from Connection Over Perfection.
In this world of endless chatter, finding genuine conversations can be a challenge.
That being said, we introduce Podcast Connection Network, a space where we lay it all out, unfiltered.
Dive in with us. It's about authentic connections and conversations that truly matter.
To learn more about the network and each of our podcasts, click the link in the description below. The Podcast Connection Network. Never going to give you up, never going to let you down.